holiday time for many of us Brits, but Richard Branson may soon be offering a trip that's literally out of this world. Yesterday, he unveiled a shuttle that will soon send tourists into space. The 2-hour flight, which would take passengers into the Earth's sub-orbit, could begin as early as 2010. Anybody tempted? Anyone want to be signing up for that first ticket?
No. Scared to death. I get scared flying to Spain.
Really?
Which is only, what, an hour or two. No, I have no interest in that at all. I mean, I've interested in space. I love, you know, watching films or seeing pictures and that of orbit and space and other planets and, you know, wondering what it's like. But I've absolutely no desire whatsoever to go up there and look down on Earth.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I don't understand that. I would love to go.
Would you like me to buy a ticket?
Well, I would have thought you would too, because you're like me, you like travelling, you like seeing the world, different experiences. I mean, it must be amazing to have that, you know, the scene in Apollo 13 when Tom Hanks looks out the window and there's the Earth down there.
And then the engines blow up and he doesn't know how to get back down.
But it's Tom Hanks, so he always gets back down.
You don't want to see that, though.
Oh, I do. I would love it. It would be amazing.
Do you know what? You know, quite a few of the astronauts that went into space went a little bit, you know... when they got back down to Earth, it was like it was too much to cope with. It was too much to comprehend the fact that that's where you live on that tiny little insignificant planet. And you know, when you're on it, you think everything is so massively important and everything else. When you go up there, you realise it's not. And when you come back down to Earth, you can't cope with real life. And I don't particularly want to go mad. I don't want to go up there.
Too late, love.
Yeah, don't start.
Don't
start.
Yeah.
No, I just don't want. I don't need to see it. Look, this is where I live. I like keeping my feet on the ground. I like flying on holiday, but I don't want to go up there and see that. And also, you know, you touched on this. What happens is, if you're in an aeroplane and it crashes, there's a very good chance that you will survive.
No, there isn't.
Well, there is. No, there is, honestly. People survive air crashes. If you happen to be in a spacecraft, you know, out of the Earth's atmosphere and there's no gravity, there's nothing to bring it down again. Say the engines fail, you just die a slow death spinning around in the middle of nowhere.
Oh, always look on the bright side, why don't you?
Well, I don't want to do that. I'd rather have a chance. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to go up there. I live on Earth.
Surely you'll come with me.
No.
No.
If I'm going to an airport and I've had to do all the check-in, go through the security, sort it out, see my ticket,
Do you think you need one of those little plastic bags when you go on his rocket ship?
Exactly, you know, you probably will. You'll have to go through everything. I want to get off in paradise. I don't want to whiz round and come back and get off at the same place again.
No.
I want to go...
on a 2-week holiday.
I want a 2-week holiday in between. You know?
It's pointless. But it's not the destination. It's the journey.
No, it's
a
not.
big spiritual adventure.
I think it's marvellous for you. And isn't it lovely to see you getting excited?
Do you know, when I was 100 years ago when I was on Radio 1, we did the fastest show on Earth because we did my show live from Concorde, as it sort of did a 2-hour little thing. And I just think, wouldn't that be amazing to do that? Well, we could do the show on the rocket ship.
No, you
could do it.
Lucille, lost in space.
Loose woman. We'll wave at you.
Now, show it.
Don't you think, though, if you looked down on the Earth and, you know, and you saw sort of what a bigger universe we all live in...
We're not going with you.
No. I know what it looks like.
You could do a concert up there.
Oh, I don't think I could. There'd be no atmosphere, would there?
Put your point of view on anything we're discussing on the show today, you can email us at the usual address at loose.women@itv.com. Remember to tell us your name and where you're from, and we'll read some of those out a little bit later on. Now, it's been announced today that potential reforms by the government could mean that women who murder their partner after years of abuse would be treated more leniently by the courts. At present, killers can only plead manslaughter if they act in the heat of the moment. However, under laws proposed by the government today, women who convince a jury they feared serious assault or long-term danger when they acted will instead be found guilty of manslaughter, even if it is premeditated. Writing in the Mail today, Erin Pitsey argues that the plans are an affront to morality and effectively give domestic abuse victims a licence to kill as long as their sense of victimhood is deemed sufficiently powerful. So is she right? Or should we downgrade our moral line on murder to protect the vulnerable? Colleen?
I kind of agree with this law, mainly because I can't even comprehend what the fear must be like to live with somebody who for years, day in, and day out not only batters you physically but mentally, and I can't imagine that fear. And I know that I'll get shot down in flames because murder's murder and all of that, but the thing about it is, for me, it would be premeditated because they are so scared that it wouldn't be done on the spur of the moment because they're too scared to retaliate when he's awake or when he's coming at you. So I can kind of grasp how a woman could go, I can't take this anymore, especially a woman who has been to the police, who's logged every complaint, you know, who's had every bone broken or whatever, or her kids threatened, and who maybe has gone in to women's refuges,
yeah.
and still he's hounding her, and just getting to that mental state of, this is my only way out, this is how and if she can convince the jury of that and they agree with her, then I agree that it should be manslaughter
What
and
she
not
has to
murder.
convince them of is that, you know, there's going to be a future attack, and you can't do that. You can't possibly know that there's going to be a future
lived with
attack.
it for years and
And
years
to
and
say,
years.
No, you can't. And to say
How
that
not? If he's
Well,
done it
because you
since
can't-
you've been
because
with him.
You don't know what's going to happen in the future, do you? What you're saying is that you're actually granting someone the right to murder someone. It is actually a licence to kill, and what you're saying is that as long as you can prove that you might have been, you know, battered again in the future, I don't see how you can do that. How can you stand up in a court? You know, it's going to be who believes who, isn't it? You know,
All that in court anyway, isn't it?
Well, I know.
really?
I know there's a lot of
It seems
time,
an
but
incredibly
murder
grey
is-
area, as you say,
It
that
is.
it's going to be, you know, without sounding cynical, how good a job you are at convincing a jury of how much of a victim you were. And I don't doubt for a second, and I completely understand what you're saying, and on an emotional,
all do.
personal level, of course, you know, these women lives are in danger, and they are not acting, you know, in right sound mind and in normal circumstances that any of us could possibly understand unless we've been through it. However, I'm with Carol in that I think you can't sort of set down and say, OK, under this set of circumstances, deciding to and planning to murder someone is okay,
Yeah.
and we'll go easy on you.
Yeah.
I just
It's
think
not
that's
that
an
they're easy,
incredibly
it's not that they
slippery
get off.
slope, because what's next? When
Well,
else
just
is it
read,
okay?
I've read so many books, because it does interest me, and I love true life stories and things like that, and I've read so many articles and books and watched films and all that about this situation. And I can't, halfway through the book, I'm thinking, oh my God, and she's tried so hard to get away, and she can't get away, and people are, well, just leave him, well, go into hiding, and this guy's hounding her, if you leave me, I'll kill
then
you,
to
I'll
say
kill
the
your
only-
family, I'll kill... And it's driven her, she's too scared to do anything while he's awake. He's in a drunken stupor, he's just battered her for the however many millionth time, and while he's asleep, she gets the courage. And I think she shouldn't be accused
But that's
of
like
being
saying
an
the
out-and-out
only way
murderer.
out is to murder him.
For some women.
No, but it
And let's
isn't.
be
I
honest,
mean,
a
you
lot
know,
of women, there's more women that die
there is help.
from abuse than women that actually murder.
Yes, I know that, but you can't change the law to protect... You know, what if you've got, like, a really manipulative woman who manages to, you know, just doesn't like her husband? She could
but
convince a
that's-
jury...
she
No, it could be done. It could be done.
No way.
It's a loophole
No
that
way.
could be abused. And you cannot sanction murder in that way. You know, you have to rely on the courts. And if anything, then maybe the law should be strengthened to deal with domestic abuse,
Well,
you know, in a
absolutely,
more
but it
harsh
isn't.
way. But it is there, you know, the police, all the police now have domestic violence units, and you know there
the
are
man gets
places.
6 months,
there
and then
are
he's out
places
again.
Well, I think
for
that's
women
what the
to
government
go.
need to do. I mean, to me,
Yes,
this
6
is
months.
it's almost encouraging, it's encouraging vigilante justice, or taking the law into your own hands. And what the government need to do is not focus on what should we do when something's become so horrendous for a woman that she's pushed to become a murderer. How should we do? How about dealing with the guy who's knocking seven bells out of her?
exactly.
Get him in jail
Yes,
for
well, we
10
all-
years so
we all
she
know
can
that,
scarf
but
her and
that-
rebuild
but
her
that
life.
doesn't happen, and that isn't happening.
But that's what they need to
And
be
that's what
concentrating
they
on.
need to do.
murder someone.
You can't. If you've ever been in an abusive relationship, you'd know what this law was all about. For a woman who is abused, it is the most horrendous thing ever. She's frightened for her kids, she's frightened for her house, she's frightened for herself. She just has to walk on eggshells the whole time. So it is that split second sometimes where you just snap.
I think it
because
takes a lot for a woman to end up being a
Absolutely.
murderer. I,
mean,
don't think she's a cold killer.
Absolutely. I don't think there's a lot of... there's no... Women